All right, welcome back to the deep dive. Looks like we're going to be tackling eBay today. Specifically, we're diving deep into eBay Seller Secrets
hmm
by Steve Weber, a book that's jam-packed with like all sorts of proven tactics from these top eBay sellers. So are you ready to kind of unlock those secrets?
You bet. Yeah, eBay, I mean, it's still a powerhouse for anyone who wants to build a really thriving online business, you know? Doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you've been doing this for years. This book, I think, really has something for everyone.
For sure. One of the first things that kind of jumped out at me was the section on eBay's search algorithm. It's called Cassini. I mean, we all know like getting your listing seen, it's crucial.
Mm.
But have you ever like thought about how some of these listings just appear like magically at the top of the search results, while others, well, they just get totally lost.
Right, right. Yeah, and it's not magic. It's Cassini. This algorithm's it's all about relevance, quality, and seller performance. So think of it as like a matchmaking system, you know? It connects buyers with the most relevant and trustworthy sellers out there.
So it's not just like listing something and just crossing your fingers hoping for the best. There's a whole science behind it.
Exactly. Cassini looks at a ton of different factors. I mean, you've got like how well your listing title matches what buyers are searching for. You got your pricing compared to other sellers. You got whether you offer that, fast and free shipping, and even your track record, like as a seller, right?
Wow. Okay. So it's like this giant puzzle, and we got to put all these pieces together to get that top spot. And this book, I mean, it dives into some really, really interesting strategies, to boost that visibility. What really stood out to you?
Yeah, well, one of the key things I think that I picked up was that listing frequently, it's really important, especially for, products that are in high demand.
Hmm.
I mean, think about it. Buyers, they're always searching for deals, right? The more often you list, well, the more chances you have to catch their eye.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes total sense. I've definitely noticed that when I'm, searching for something specific on eBay, all these new listings, they pop up all the time. It's like a constant stream of fresh inventory.
Exactly, yeah. And speaking of, attracting attention, this book also talks about using like clear descriptions with lots of good keywords in there. You want your listings to show up when buyers are searching for specific, terms. So using those relevant keywords, it's super key.
It's like you're speaking Cassini's language, right? But like making sure your listings are talking directly to the algorithm, but also to the buyers.
Yeah, you got it, precisely. And another point the book makes is that Cassini it loves free shipping. It's not just appealing to buyers. It also tells the algorithm that you're a seller they can count on, that you're committed to making that customer experience a good one.
So it's like a win-win. Buyers get the free shipping, and we potentially get a nice little boost in those search rankings. Everybody's happy.
Exactly, exactly. But you got to make sure to factor in those shipping costs when you're thinking about your prices, right?
Yeah.
You got to make sure you're still making money. The book, it goes into a lot of detail about calculating those shipping costs and setting competitive prices, which, that's super important for any eBay seller.
Okay, so we're mastering Cassini, we're listing frequently, we're offering free shipping, and we're pricing things, strategically. But
Yeah.
let's be honest. The real fun starts when you find those hidden gem products, the ones that just practically sell themselves.
Oh, absolutely. The book has a whole section dedicated to figuring out a niche that's going to make you money, and it's full of strategies you can actually use. And the one approach that I really liked was this concept of undervalued markets.
Undervalued markets. Tell me more. That sounds kind of intriguing.
Yeah, it's basically all about finding those sweet spots, where the demand is high, but the competition, it's pretty low. So it might be, tapping into a new trend
But
or specializing in a niche category or even finding products that the other sellers just kind of overlook.
so it's like we're detectives, and we're looking for those hidden clues that lead to eBay treasure.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. The book gives you some really specific tactics to uncover these opportunities. And one of my favorite ones is using eBay's sold listings feature.
Mhm.
And what that lets you do is see what items have actually sold for, in the past. So you're getting real data on what buyers want and what the price trends are.
Oh, that's going to be such a valuable tool. It takes out all the guesswork in pricing and lets you see what's really selling.
For sure, yeah. And the book also really emphasizes, considering like seasonality, right?
Yeah.
Certain products they're just more popular at different times of the year. So understanding those cycles, that can give you a real edge.
Oh yeah, that makes a ton of sense. You think about things like holiday decorations or back to school supplies. I mean, the demand for that stuff, it just skyrockets during specific times. Okay, so we got our detective hats on. We're using sold listings to uncover those hidden gems, and we're thinking about those seasonal trends. But where do we actually find these products to sell?
Well, that's where things get really interesting, I think. The book it covers a lot of different sourcing methods, each with, its own pluses and minuses.
Okay, all right. Let's dive into those sourcing methods. What's the first one on the list?
So one that's really popular is retail arbitrage. And that's basically it's finding those clearance items, at those big retail stores like Walmart or Target, and then you resell them for a profit on eBay.
Oh, okay. So it's like treasure hunting in the clearance aisle. I can see how that could be fun and potentially really profitable.
Exactly, exactly. You'd be surprised at the deals you can find if you know where to look and what to look for.
For sure. For sure. Okay, so what other sourcing methods does the book cover?
Well, thrift stores and garage sales, those are also gold mines for eBay sellers. You just never know what kind of vintage stuff or rare collectibles you might come
Oh
across.
yeah. Those sound like my kind of weekends. There's something so satisfying about finding like a hidden gem at a thrift store and giving it a new life. What about for those who are, looking to scale their business a bit, to think a little bigger?
Right, yeah. Well, wholesale and liquidation, those are great options if you're looking to buy in bulk at lower prices. So you can really increase your profit margins by going directly to the manufacturers or liquidators.
Yeah, that makes sense. Buying in bulk it's a classic strategy for making more money. Anything else?
Yeah. The book also talks about drop shipping. And that's a popular model for sellers who don't want to handle the inventory or the shipping, themselves.
Yeah.
So basically you partner with a supplier and they ship the products directly to your customers.
Drop shipping, yeah, I can see the appeal there, but I imagine there are some challenges that come with that as well.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. With drop shipping, you gotta be really careful about who your supplier is. You gotta make sure they're reliable and that the product quality is good. It's not without its risks, but it can be a good way to offer more products without putting a ton of money up front.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about mastering eBay's search algorithm,
Right.
uncovering those profitable niches, and exploring all these different sourcing methods. But let's say we've found that perfect product, that hidden gem, the one we just know is going to be a hit on eBay. Now, how do we make our listing stand out, right? How do we actually convert those browsers into buyers?
Well, that's where crafting that perfect eBay listing comes in. The book, it breaks down a high converting listing into like three main parts.
Yeah.
You've got your title, your description, and those all important images. And each one, it plays a huge role in grabbing that buyer's attention and making them feel good about
Yeah.
about hitting that buy it now button.
Right, right. It's like you're building a virtual storefront. You want to create an experience that pulls people in and makes them feel confident about buying. So let's start with the title. I mean, it's the first thing buyers see, so it has to make a big impact. What are some tips from the book to make a title that really grabs attention and gets those clicks?
Yeah, so think of your title as like your headline. It's that first impression. And the book really emphasizes putting those keywords right up front. That way your listing pops up in the search results when people are looking for stuff like yours. And it's also really important to just use like clear language that tells people exactly what you're selling.
Okay, so it's not about being like super clever or using like catchy phrases. It's more about being direct and using those words that buyers are actually typing in.
Exactly, yeah. So avoid those subjective words like amazing or beautiful, right? Instead, you want to focus on those objective details. Think, think brand, model, size, color, condition. So for example, instead of saying like stunning vintage dress perfect for a special occasion, you might say vintage 1950s floral cocktail dress, size small, excellent condition.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You're basically painting a clear picture with your words and letting the buyer decide if it's, stunning or perfect for them. Okay, so we got a killer title that's got all those relevant keywords and tells people exactly what we're showing now. Now, what about the description? How do we go beyond just, listing features and really pull the buyer in?
Well, your description it's where you get to, elaborate on that title. You give more details and you really sell those benefits, right? The book suggests using a mix of bullet points and paragraphs to make it, visually appealing and easy to read.
I like that idea. Those bullet points they're great for highlighting those key features and making the information easy to scan. And then the paragraphs, that's where you can tell a bit of a story, right? Connect with the buyer on a more emotional level.
Right, exactly. So you use those bullet points to lay out those features, the dimensions, the condition, anything special about your product. And then use those paragraphs to describe what those features actually mean for the buyer, how it can make their life, better.
So like, for example, if you're selling a vintage camera, you might use bullet points to list those technical specs like the lens type or shutter speed, and then you can use the paragraph to describe like how beautiful the photos are that you can take with it, and the feeling of capturing those memories with a classic piece of equipment.
Yeah, perfect example. And the book also it stresses the importance of being honest and transparent in those descriptions.
Yeah.
Don't try to hide any little flaws or anything that's not perfect. Instead, you just address it right up front and provide clear pictures so the buyer knows exactly what they're getting.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. It builds that trust and reduces those returns or negative feedback. It's like that old saying, honesty is the best policy. Okay, so we've got a great title. We got a really persuasive description. We're being honest about the product's condition. What's next?
Now it's time to really bring your listing to life with some high quality images.
Yeah.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and that's definitely true when it comes to selling online. Your photos, those are the first thing a buyer sees. So you want to make sure they're clear, they're well lit, and they just show your item, in its best light.
Okay, so no blurry dark pictures taken in a dimly lit basement. I got it. But what about some specific tips for taking good product photos for eBay? What should people focus on?
Well, the book really emphasizes using natural light as much as possible. So set up near a window or even outside on a cloudy day to get that best lighting. Use a clean, uncluttered background. That way your product is the star of the show, right? And don't be afraid to get creative. Try different angles, close-ups. Highlight those little details that make it special.
It's like you're giving your product a mini photo shoot.
Yeah.
You want to show its personality and make it look as good as possible. Now, eBay, it lets you use up to 12 pictures per listing. Are we using all 12?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. The more photos, the better. Use those 12 slots to show people every angle of your product, to show close-ups of any cool features or textures or details, and if there are any imperfections, show those too.
It's all about managing those buyer expectations. The more information you give them up front, the less likely you are to have, those surprises or disappointments later on.
Exactly, yeah. And speaking of managing expectations, pricing, that plays a huge role in whether a buyer's happy or not. How can our listeners set prices that are, competitive, that'll make them money, and that buyers are going to like? It seems like a tough thing to balance.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like walking a tightrope. You want to make a profit, but you don't want to scare buyers away with prices that are too high. What advice does the book have on figuring this pricing puzzle out?
So the book suggests doing your research, see what your competitors are charging to get an idea of what your product is worth. Look at similar listings that have recently sold and see what those prices were. That gives you a starting point.
So it's like doing a little market research before you set your own prices. You want to see what buyers are actually paying for similar items.
Exactly. And it's also important to factor in your own costs. Think about the cost of the product, the shipping materials, eBay fees, and your time. Don't undervalue your time and effort.
Yeah, that's such a good point. It's easy to get, caught up in the excitement of selling and forget about those hidden costs. The book also talks about psychological pricing strategies, right? Like ending your prices in 0.99 instead of point 0. Does that stuff actually work?
It might seem like a small thing, but those little tricks, they can really affect how buyers see your price.
Yeah.
Getting a price in 0.99 just makes it feel more affordable, even if it's, just a penny difference.
It's like that saying, a penny saved is a penny earned.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess in this case, it's more like a penny less makes the sale more or less.
Ah, that's a good one. The book also talks about when to use an auction versus a fixed price, depending on what you're selling.
Auctions, those always seem, exciting.
Uh,
But I can see how they wouldn't be right for every item.
right. Auctions are really best for those rare items, the collectibles, the stuff that everyone's after, the kind of stuff where the market really sets the price.
Yeah.
You can create a sense of excitement and competition, and that can really drive up that final selling price.
So it's tapping into that fear of missing out. Buyers, they don't want to miss that one of a kind item.
You got it. Now, fixed price listings, those are better for more common items where you have a good idea of what it's worth and how much you want to make.
It just gives the buyer that certainty, right? They know exactly what they're paying, and they don't have to worry about getting into a bidding war.
Exactly. It's about choosing the right type of listing for your product and what you're trying to achieve.
Okay, so we've talked pricing strategies, but let's move on to another crucial part of selling on eBay: shipping and fulfillment. This is where things can get a little tricky, especially for new sellers. What kind of advice does the book give on dealing with shipping carriers, packaging, and tracking?
Yeah. Let's unpack that. It's one thing to make the sale, but it's a whole other thing to get that item to the buyer safely and quickly. What are some key takeaways from eBay Seller Secrets when it comes to making shipping, smooth and stress-free, both for you and your buyers?
Yeah, shipping can definitely feel a little overwhelming, especially with like all the different carriers and options out there. So where do we even start?
Right. Like it's a whole other world to figure out. Well, the book does a really good job of breaking down those different shipping carriers. You've got your USPS, your FedEx, your UPS, and it helps you understand the pros and cons of each so you can pick the one that works best for you and your budget.
I've heard some real horror stories about sellers, losing money on shipping because they didn't quite estimate the costs correctly. Any advice on how to avoid that?
Oh, absolutely. The book really stresses how important it is to get those shipping costs right before you even list your item. You can use eBay's shipping calculator or even a third-party tool, and those will give you an estimate based on the weight, the size of your package, and where your buyer's located.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You don't want to end up, eating into your profits because you didn't account for those shipping expenses.
Exactly, yeah. And the book also talks about how important it is to use, the right packaging to protect your items. No one wants to get something that's been damaged in the mail, right? Right. So it's worth it to invest in some good quality packaging materials.
Yeah, I'll admit I've definitely been guilty of reusing those old Amazon boxes for my eBay sales.
Yeah.
But maybe it's time to upgrade, huh?
It might be a good idea, yeah.
Mhm.
Good packaging not only protects your stuff, but it also just looks more professional. It shows the buyer that you care about their purchase and you want it to arrive in perfect condition.
Okay, so we're calculating those shipping costs carefully. We're using good packaging, and we're choosing the right carrier. What about tracking? Is that something we should be offering on all of our shipments?
The book strongly recommends it. And I agree. Tracking gives both you and the buyer peace of mind, and it also protects you if there's ever a dispute.
Right. I've heard of sellers getting scammed, by buyers who claim they never got their item.
Yeah.
So having that tracking information can really help you avoid that kind of of situation.
Exactly. Yeah. It gives you a record of where the package is and when it was, delivered. It also helps to set those expectations with the buyer, right? They know when to expect their package and they can track its progress, along the way.
Okay, cool. So we've covered a lot. We've talked about, how to get your listings seen, how to find those profitable products, how to create those killer listings, how to price things right, and even how to navigate this whole world of shipping. But what really separates those successful eBay sellers, I think, is their commitment to really providing, exceptional customer service.
You're absolutely right that in today's world where everyone's selling online, those positive reviews and repeat customers, they're so valuable. And the book, it has a whole section on how to make that customer experience on eBay really, really great.
Right, right. Because buyers have so many choices now. It's the sellers who go that extra mile,
Yeah.
who really stand out. What are some of the strategies that the book, lays out for creating that wow factor and turning those one-time buyers into loyal fans?
Well, communication is huge. The book really emphasizes responding to those buyer inquiries quickly and professionally, right? Even if you don't have the answer right away, you just acknowledge their message and let them know that you're working on it.
So it's just about setting those expectations and keeping that communication flowing.
Exactly. And when it comes to problems, the book says to be proactive, to
Mm.
to be focused on finding a solution, right? Don't wait until things blow up.
Ah.
Address those issues head on and do everything you can to make it right for the buyer.
Yeah, yeah. It's about turning a potentially bad experience into a good one.
Yeah.
It shows that you care and you're willing to go, above and beyond to make sure they're happy.
Exactly. And the book also talks about, making those interactions a little more personal. Just a simple thank you note or a little something extra with their order. That can
Right.
make a big difference in creating a positive experience that they'll remember.
I love those little touches. It's just about making that buyer feel appreciated.
Exactly. Yeah. And speaking of feeling appreciated, let's talk about something that's really important to every eBay seller.
Hmm.
Positive feedback. How can our listeners encourage those glowing reviews that can really make a difference in attracting new buyers and building their reputation on eBay?
Yeah, because positive feedback, it's like it's like social proof, right? It shows potential buyers that you're someone they can trust
Yeah.
and that you're going to deliver on your promises.
Exactly. The book suggests a couple things to encourage positive feedback. First, make sure you're going above and beyond in every part of that transaction, from the accuracy of your listing to how fast you ship to how well you communicate.
It's about setting the stage for a positive experience from start to finish.
Yeah.
If the buyer's happy every step of the way, they're they're much more likely to leave a good review.
Right. And you can also just ask for feedback directly. Once the item's been delivered, just send a polite message thanking them for their purchase and asking them to leave feedback if they're satisfied.
So it's like you're just planting that seed,
Yeah.
gently reminding them that feedback is appreciated.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground here. We've talked about, mastering that search algorithm, finding those money-making products, writing those amazing listings, pricing strategies, handling shipping, providing that top-notch customer service, and even getting those all-important positive reviews. But the thing about e-commerce is it's always changing, right? How does the book recommend staying ahead of the curve, making sure your eBay business is set up for the future?
Well, you got to be flexible and always be willing to learn new things. The book really stresses the importance of staying up to date on eBay's policies and algorithms, because those are always changing. So subscribe to eBay's seller updates, go to those webinars and seller forums and talk to other sellers, share what you know and learn from their experiences.
It's like that saying, knowledge is power, right?
Uh-huh.
The more you know about the platform and the industry, the better prepared you'll be for whatever changes come your way.
Oh, yeah.
What about having multiple streams of income? Is that something the book touches on?
Yeah, definitely. Putting all your eggs in one basket, it can be risky, especially when it comes to selling online. The book encourages sellers to explore other options like creating their own website or selling on other marketplaces like Amazon or Etsy.
It's like having multiple rivers flowing into your business lake, right?
Yeah.
It creates a much more stable and sustainable income. Well, we've really gone deep in this dive into eBay seller secrets. We've explored so much from mastering that search algorithm to building a loyal customer base. It's been a really comprehensive look at how to be successful on eBay.
And remember, this is just the beginning. Embrace the challenges, celebrate those wins, and never stop learning and growing. There are so many opportunities out there for those who are willing to put in the work and really embrace that entrepreneurial spirit.
Absolutely. And thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the world of eBay selling. We're so excited to see you all succeed on the platform and build a business that brings you joy, fulfillment, and of course, financial success.
Happy selling, everyone.